What's cooking, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be doing a video on predicting every UFC pay-per-view or numbered event, main event for the rest of the year. So pretty much from International Fight Week all the way to December. And since obviously I figured it'd be a good time to do this since the UFC just announced that they're coming back to Philadelphia for 3:30. As far as how this works, this is kind of going to be a combination of what I think is going to happen, sprinkled in with a little bit of what I would do, but mainly what I think is more likely to happen, all right? Some of it will be a bit optimistic. I'm praying there's no women's main events, and I feel like that's in the past. I don't think we're actually going to get women's main events for pay-per-views anymore, but that could be wishful thinking. But with that being said, let's get into it. Coming up next after the White House, we've got UFC International Fight Week, or UFC 329, which, can I just say, I thought UFC White House was 329, so I thought it was a bit odd that International Fight Week's 329, but I guess the White House is so special it doesn't even need to be a numbered event. Anyway, starting with what I think will be the main event. Dude, I think Conor's coming back. Like, I actually think it's going to happen. Like, even Dana recently said it's looking likely. So I think Conor is going to headline International Fight Week. The only question is, who is it going to be against? Now, there's two possible opponents it seems like it's going to be. And those two opponents are Jorge Masvidal or Max Holloway. Now, if it were up to me, I would do either Chandler or Nate Diaz. I think it was actually supposed to be Nate Diaz, but obviously the UFC didn't offer him enough money, so Netflix must have offered him a bag, so that's why he's on that card. And Chandler's fighting Rufy at the White House, but I pray to fucking God it's not Max Holloway, because here's how that fight would go. McGregor would come out looking like his old self for about the first 30 seconds. He'll land a good straight left or two on Max Holloway, and then Max Holloway will come back and immediately slime out Conor once he finds his rhythm. Like, Conor has not fought in 5 years. Why the fuck are you going to put him in there against Max Holloway, who's still kind of in his prime? Although he lost his last fight, that wasn't because of the striking. That was because of the grappling. And let's be real, McGregor's not going to do that to Holloway, even in his prime. I feel like it should just be Jorge Masvidal, because that's a fight that Conor can actually win. I mean, Jorge Masvidal looked absolutely washed in his last fight, and that was 3 years ago. Whereas McGregor didn't look terrible against Dustin Poirier. I mean, he didn't look great, but he didn't look washed. He was just getting, like, outdone or whatever. Whereas Jorge Masvidal looked fat, slow, and absolutely washed against Gilbert Burns, who is even more washed. What do you know it? So if it's between these two, it's got to be Jorge Masvidal, hopefully. But I feel like all signs pointing it to be Max Holloway, and I feel like this is going to be a huge mistake on the UFC's part if they go through with this. I also think Dan Hooker and Paddy Pimblett will probably be on this card as the co-main event, because Paddy Pimblett, I think, has confirmed that he's fighting on this card. We've also got Leon Edwards versus Daniel Rodriguez. Imagine Leon loses that. And the rapist himself, Gable Stevenson's going to be on this card against who knows, I don't fucking know. So it's shaping up to be a pretty decent card, especially if it's going to be a Conor card, because normally Conor cards are absolute shit, or they're like mid recently, like his last few cards that he's been on. So I don't know how the cards overall is going to look. Maybe I'll do a card builder video. I honestly couldn't be asked doing that. But yeah, I think the UFC 329 main event is going to be Conor McGregor. Whether it's against Jorge Masvidal, Max Holloway, or it could be someone else. Me personally, I'd maybe even sign Tony's old ass back and just get Conor to slime out Tony Ferguson. Like, I honestly think drunk, coked up Conor coming off the couch could beat Tony Ferguson at this point. But yeah, it should be Nate Diaz, in my honest opinion, or Michael Chandler. But I wouldn't be opposed to Jorge Masvidal. Just please don't let it be Max Holloway, because Holloway will fucking kill Conor at this point. Like I said, Conor will be lucky if he lands 2 solid left hands in a row. But yeah, that's my prediction for the main event for 329. Moving on to 330, which the UFC announced recently it's going to take place at Philadelphia. There's really only one option that we know is going to headline, and Dana White has kind of already confirmed it himself. It's going to be Islam Makhachev. Dana said himself that Islam's fighting in August, so it's going to be him. Now, as far as who it's against, I'm predicting either Ian Gary or Michael Morales. I'm probably leaning more towards Ian Gary. I just pray to fucking God it's not Kamaru Usman, and all signs point to it not being him, which I pray to God. I feel like whoever isn't picked out of these two should fight Usman next. Like, if they do Islam, Ian Gary, I feel like Michael Morales should fight Usman then, as like a just as like a title eliminator, I guess. I mean, I don't think Usman beats either of these guys at this point. But yeah, So yeah, I think Islam is gonna headline against Ian Gary most likely. I think he honestly beats both of these guys, but it is going to be interesting seeing how he deals with the size up at welterweight, because JDM isn't the biggest welterweight, whereas Michael Morales is the biggest guy in the division. I mean, he's fucking massive. And then Ian Gary as well. Well, he's not the heaviest guy, he is tall and rangy, so that'll be interesting. But as far as who else is going to be on this card, maybe if Sean Brady wins against Walking Buckley, which I think he will, and he takes no damage, we could see him on this card and like make it like a welterweight fest card. Some people are saying maybe we'll get Piotr Jan versus Marab as a co-main, which I could see them doing, but at the same time, I could also see them saving that for a future pay-per-view as its own headliner, which is what I'm going to do here, because I don't think they're going to put that, like, two good title fights on this one card. I mean, they have done it before, but I don't think they will. I think a fight like that, given how awesome the last fight was, I think they're going to make it headline its own card. I think the co-main event will more than likely be fucking Valentina Shevchenko versus Natalia Silva. Because Valentina hasn't fought in a while. She hasn't fought since Islam. So I do think that they're going to put that as like the co-main to this. Come to think of it, there haven't been any women's title fight co-mains yet this year, which is probably a fucking good thing, but there's probably going to be a few of them in the later half of the year, because I've realized none of them have fought yet. I mean, I'm surprised Nunes Harrison wasn't on the White House, but anyway, that's irrelevant. So yeah, I think UFC 330 in Philadelphia will be Islam Makhachev defending his belt in the main event against Ian Gary or Michael Morales. And then the co-main, like I said, Valentina Shevchenko will fucking defend against fucking Natalia Silva or whoever. But anyway, let's move on to UFC 331. Now, UFC 331, we don't know when it's going to take place or where, but it'll more than likely take place in September, because I don't think they're going to double up for August. They don't really do that. Usually October's the month they double up for. And yeah, I think the main event of this card will be Volk versus Movzar. Obviously, Movzar fought just a month ago, and you know how Movzar is. He's not the most active guy. He's going to want some time to recover. Volk as well, like, injured his shoulder after his, like, leading up to his last fight, so obviously he wanted a bit of time to recover. And I feel like September is just, like, the perfect amount of time. I think the card will probably take place in Vegas. Like, this could even be the Noche main event. I know neither of them are Mexican, but neither was O'Malley and fucking Marab. So this could be the Noche main event, and then they just, you know, put a bunch of Mexicans on the undercard, maybe get Yair in the co-main. That's an option, because then that way he can be like a backup in the event that someone in the main event falls through, God forbid, because you know what Movzar's like. But yeah, I do think this will be the main event of the September pay-per-view. I think Movzar's, they've got no choice now. They've got to give him a title shot. Maybe Gene Silva will weigh in as the backup. I could see that happening. Maybe that could be a good co-main event. Yair versus Gene Silva, like, and then, you know, they can both be the backup. Winner gets the next title shot, I guess. I mean, it kind of would make sense to give either of them if they win their next fight one, considering after this there's no one else. As far as where it will take place, I'll say probably Vegas, but I could see it taking place in Perth. Like, maybe they do a Perth pay-per-view again, because they have come to Australia like in around August, September before. Like, they did that for Adesanya Strickland. They came in September, and then the fight night the next week was in Las Vegas. So they could do that, but I'd say I feel like it'll more than likely be Vegas, because usually that's where they go for September. Although last year they tried to do Noche and that didn't happen. So it could be another location, but I'll say more than likely Vegas. And then the co-main, like I said, the co-main will probably, if it's Noche, will probably be Yair versus somebody. I could see them maybe doing Yan Marab co-main, but I don't think so. Maybe we could even see a fucking Zhang Wei Li co-main, or a, God forbid, actually, no, I'd rather see Harrison Nunes over Whaley, but yeah, we could get a women's title co-main, but I think this will probably likely just be a single title fight card with like a Yair Gene Silva co-main. But yeah, moving on to UFC 332. Now there's two options I think can headline this card. The first option is Marab versus Yan 3 for the main event. And I think this card also, on top of that, is going to take place in October. Like, usually for the last few years, they've been doubling up in October. So I think this will take place early October, maybe somewhere like Salt Lake City or some shit like that, some random US location. Or maybe they could do, if they go to Perth in September, this could just be in Vegas. So that's an option as well. But yeah, I think more than likely we're going to see Jan and Merab come back. I know Merab's injured his nose, so he's probably going to be out for a little bit longer. And Jan as well just had surgery, so he's probably going to want a bit of time to recover. Like I said before, I could see this being maybe earlier in the year as a co-main, but I think more than likely they'll want it as a main event. If Merab can't fight, because I know he's injured his nose, I don't know if that was an April Fool's Day prank or what, but who knows. I could also see them doing Umar in the shot, like give Umar a shot as well, and maybe have that as the Abu Dhabi main event. That's a possibility. Or they just give O'Malley the next shot, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to want O'Malley to like be on his own schedule. Like they're not going to force him into a quick turnaround after the White House to fight Petr Yan. They're going to want to give him all the time in the world he can to recover and prepare. Like I think they'd rather just give Umar the shot, especially since he hasn't fought since January. Whereas O'Malley will have fought twice this year. I don't think they're going to want to make him turn around less than 4 months to fight Yan. Possibly one of the hardest matchups for him. They're going to, like I said, they're going to want to give it their golden boy all the time in the world. But that's option number 1 for this main event. Another option, which I think is also possible that could be for this card, is Nassourdine Imavov versus either Joe Pyfer or Dricus du Plessis for the vacant middleweight belt. Now, as we all know, Carl Solberg fucked his ACL in his last fight against Yuri, so he might be out for a bit, which means he's either going to have to vacate or they're going to do an interim. And I think Khamzat's going to beat Sean Strickland. I think that's a given. And after that, I think he's going to move up. I don't think he's going to want to fight Imavov because he's made it clear that he doesn't want to fight because they've like trained together or they're both Muslim or some shit like that. I don't know. So I do think after that, the UFC will likely let him move up because light heavyweight's in a slump right now. They're in desperate need of contenders. And honestly, I'm not opposed to Khamzat moving up. Like I just said, light heavyweight is in desperate need of contenders. And I'm perfectly okay with letting Khamzat go up there and ruin that division because middleweight's actually turning out to be good. Like, we've got a few good names in here, and I don't want Khamzat fighting once every year. Like I said, everyone at light heavyweight's coming off of losses, so we can kind of afford to have Khamzat go up and, fight once a year and stink that division up. So, obviously, Nassourdine Imavov's the next guy, and I think it's going to be him in a vacant title fight, and he's going to have to fight either Dricus or Joe will be the next guy. I think I'm leaning more towards Joe Pyfer, mainly because he's a fresher name, like he's an up-and-comer. And I don't think they're going to want to give the guy that just got dominated by Khamzat a vacant title fight, especially if he wins. I think they'd rather have a fresh face like Joe Pyfer. And, yeah, I think Nassourdine Imavov wins this one. Like, I think he beats both of these guys. Dricus, I think, would be a much tougher fight, but I think Imavov's got the style to do it. I could be wrong, because Dricus, you know how he is. We never know how his fights are going to go down. He's so fucking goofy, but yeah, that's who I think headlines UFC 332 in early October. Either Petr Yan versus Merab for the trilogy, if not Nassourdine Imavov for the vacant belt, and then maybe Merab Yan as co-main, or maybe that's on another card. But anyway, moving on to later in October. Now, moving on for UFC 333 in late October, which usually is in Abu Dhabi. I think there's only one choice for this, and it's Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa for either the vacant or the interim light heavyweight title. And who would have thought a couple of years ago we were supposed to get this fight as the co-main event in Abu Dhabi to, I think it was Volk Makhachev. The fight falls through because Paulo Costa pulled out. Big surprise. And I thought that was the end of it. I thought we're never going to see this fight. But what do you know it? Turns out we might actually see this fight for the light heavyweight title. Who would have thought? Like, I fucking didn't. But yeah, Khamzat will win this fight. He will ragdoll Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat will ragdoll Paulo Costa. Fuck, why'd I say that? Yeah, I think Khamzat will beat Costa quite easily. I thought that before, and I think it even more now. But yeah, I think this will be the main event. It's a huge grudge match. They obviously had beef before. They'll probably still have beef now. And, like, who else are you going to put Paulo Costa against if it's for a fucking vacant belt? Like, they're not giving Ankalaev another shot, I know that much. You can't give Khalil a shot because he just lost to Yuri Prochazka, who just lost to Carlos Solberg, so you can't do that. Everyone else is coming off losses. Blachowicz just got injured, so who is it? Like, yeah, and no, Jamal Hill, you are not getting another fucking title shot. I know he's saying he wants the winner, but bro, you're on a 3-fight losing streak. You are at the back of the line. Fucking Khalil's ahead of you. But yeah, this is what I would do to fix the light heavyweight problem. And yeah, Khamzat wins, and then he will fight Carlos Solberg when he comes back, whether it's, to unify the belts or whether it's, his first title defense, we don't know. But yeah, UFC 333 in Abu Dhabi will be headlined more than likely by Khamzat versus Costa. And possibly with a Yan Merab. Marab 3 trilogy co-main, possibly. Like, I've been throwing that around a lot. And I forgot to make my prediction. I think Jan wins the trilogy. I think the momentum's on his side, and he's figured Marab out. But yeah. Anyway, now let's move on to November for Madison Square Garden, which is usually where they go for November. UFC 334, which will be in November, which is typically Madison Square Garden. Come on, it's going to be Tom Aspinall versus the winner of Gane Pereira, which will more than likely be Pereira. Come on, this fight has Madison Square Garden main event written all over it. Typically, Pereira headlines Madison Square Garden. He's been there a few times, defended, and typically wins, so they're going to want to have him there again. It's a big heavyweight title fight, possibly one of the biggest fights you can make right now outside of Ilya Islam. Like, come on, this just has to be the main event. And then the co-main will probably be Wei Li versus, I don't know, Mackenzie Dern if she hasn't fought. Or maybe they'll finally do Nunes Harrison on this card as the co-main. Or maybe they'll get a men's title fight. Like, I forgot about flyweight. I've realized this whole time I haven't even got a flyweight title fight booked. But that could also be the co-main for December in Vegas. Or maybe the co-main is this, we don't know. Maybe they do a BMF co-main. I could also see them doing like Charles Oliveira versus Benoit Saint Denis as the co-main for this. Or maybe, hopefully they do a triple header. I mean, I highly doubt it. I mean, even the White House wasn't a triple header. I mean, not that the BMF is a real title fight anyway. But yeah, this will definitely be the main event for Madison Square Garden if Pereira wins. It's enough time for Tom Aspinall to recover, get back to training, and, you know. As far as who wins, I really want to say Alex Pereira, but right now I'm leaning Aspinall. Like, I have to wait to see how Pereira looks at heavyweight, because he could look slow and cooked. And there is a question about Tom Aspinall's grappling, but I don't know. After seeing the Cyril Gane fight, I don't want to be too harsh, but I am liking Pereira's chances. If Gane can land that jab on him consistently, I think Pereira's going to be able to do the same thing. I mean, Pereira's got a nasty jab. I mean, he turned Khalil's face into a fucking... He looked like a zombie in that fight after taking a few jabs from Pereira. And Tom Aspinall, like I said, is a 1-2 merchant. I think Pereira can craft up the perfect game plan to avoid the 1-2, land the low kicks, jab him up to the body, jab him up to the head, land the slip right hand, and then find the left hook. Like, I think Pereira can definitely win this fight, but I'm going to have to lean Aspinall. I mean, my prediction could change assuming this fight happens. I mean, who knows? We could get Gane Aspinall again. Either way, I think the heavyweights will be headlining Madison Square Garden. And moving on to the final pay-per-view of the year, or numbered card, UFC 335 in Vegas in December. I think we're finally going to see Ilya versus Arman on this card. I mean, this one's a bit of a bold prediction. I mean, we're only in, April, so it's pretty hard to predict the December main event, but I think Ilya's going to slime out Justin Gaethje at the White House. I think we all do. And I don't see him moving up straight away because, like I said, Islam doesn't even have a fight booked right now. And if he doesn't fight till August, that means he's probably not going to fight again till next year. So, I don't know. I think Ilya's going to want to squeeze one more title defense in against Arman or whoever's... I mean, who else is it going to be, really? Unless Arman loses to BSD in the meantime, like they can take that fight, which I don't see happening. It's got to be Arman. Plus, Arman's a big name now as well, so the UFC will probably want to do this fight. There's bad blood, sort of, between them. Like, it'll be a fun build-up. And this is just the fight that everyone wants to see. Like, this... Ilya Islam, Jones Aspinall, Aspinall Pereira, those are the fights that everyone wants. And as far as who wins, yeah, I got Ilya, guys. I think you guys are overhyping Arman a bit. I mean, Arman's definitely good. I think he's definitely the second best lightweight in the world, but I just think Ilya's power is too much, and Arman gets hit, especially he's been rocked by that left hook before. And I think Topuria can definitely find that left hook. And Topuria can grapple. Like, he's not just some one-dimensional boxer. He can fucking grapple. Just as good as he can strike, arguably. I mean, he had Charles in a crucifix, whereas fucking Arman got guillotined by him and nearly subbed and nearly got dasked like 1,000 times. And then the co-main event of this will likely be probably a flyweight title fight or a women's fight. But yeah, I don't see Ilya moving up this year because Islam's not fighting till August, so he's probably going to have to wait a bit if he moves up. I think if we see this fight, it's going to be next year, like an International Fight Week at the earliest, because obviously after this, that'll give him about 6 or 7 months to bulk up. That's Islam's next fight will likely be in August, so that'll be plenty of time for Islam to recover. And that's when I think we'll likely see this fight, because let's be real, Islam is not turning around after August, like by the end of the year, to fight Ilya Topuria. He's going to want at least 6 months, to prepare to defend against him. And Ilya's been out for a year, so I would imagine he's going to want to get one more fight in by the end of the year. And it's not going to be Islam. I mean, unless they promise it to him early next year, but I just don't see that happening. Like, I'm surprised the UFC even tried to get this fight for the White House. Like, I'm surprised they even made an attempt. But yeah, I just don't see this fight happening this year, or at least until the other half of next year. But yeah. But anyways, that's enough from me for today, guys. That's what I think is going to headline the rest of the cards for this year. Let's get this video wrapped up. Well, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks for listening to my video. Fuck, this is a long video, longer than usual. But yeah, please like the video, subscribe, comment, hashtag or hell the Marlin Army, share the video, you know, all the usual BS. And I'll try to do some more videos like this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.